Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale with a very special episode that I know you guys are going to love. I'm joined here by Nova POMPEYO. POMPEYO, widely considered to be one of, if not the best players in the entire world. And check this out, guys. Last season on all of your screens, go ahead and check it out. The #1 player after the end of the season where everybody's grinding was indeed POMPEYO. And it's my pleasure today to invite him onto the channel. Unfortunately, not via audio. He was a little bit shy when it came to being on mic, but he was more than gracious enough to share a bunch of his replays. At the same time, I asked him 10 questions about himself, about the community, about balance changes. We're going to talk about a wide variety of subjects, so I'm going to go ahead and hop right into it as we start this first replay here, so you guys can enjoy the Siege Expo deck that actually got him to #1 in the world last season. So enjoy the replays, guys. Let's hop right into it here. So my first question for POMPEYO was, tell us a little bit about you as a player. What's your background? And is this the first game you've ever played competitively? By the way, guys, you'll see that I snuck in like 3 questions in some of these questions. A little trick to the trade there. But he responded, oh, and I also asked, what do you do when you're not clashing? So that was the first question. He responded, my name is POMPEYO, 4 in-game. I'm from Mexico, and I've been playing since the beta release of the game. He said from the very beginning, he always wanted to be the best in the entire game. He got known from PhoneCat streams and the game's subreddit early on. This is the first game he's ever played competitively. He used to play Clash of Clans casually and also a little Call of Duty very casually, but he's never played any other game competitively before. When he's not clashing, he's usually hanging out with friends and family. Okay, question number 2. I asked, do you drag or tap your cards? His answer, it really depends on the device that he's playing. If it's his phone, he'll usually tap the cards because it's much easier. If it's on his iPad, he tends to drag the cards because the distance between taps is much more than on the phone, and it can cause misclicks sometimes. So for him, it all comes down to the reaction time and preference. So number 3, I asked, what is your favorite card in the game? And also, what is your favorite archetype in the game? He said he'd go with the Inferno Tower. It's the best defense against tanks in the game, and almost every single one of his decks include the Inferno Tower because it shuts down beatdown archetypes very easily. His favorite archetype is Siege, and Expo is awesome if it's played well, he says. His second favorite is probably a Spell Cycle deck, and it's also very viable in the current meta according to POMPEYO. So I asked, number 4, what archetypes do you think are the most forgiving for non-pro players? So essentially I asked, if you're not a top player in the world like you are, POMPEYO, and maybe you consider yourself an average player or a below average player, what archetype is the easiest to grasp and just understand all the concepts behind? So his answer was Beatdown, by far, is the most common and easiest archetype for new or casual players. A giant deck could work well in any arena. It usually wins in lower arenas, even if you make several mistakes, because control and siege archetypes aren't very common there. Question number 5. I said, what common mistakes do you see made by other pro players that other people might be able to pick up on and maybe apply to their games? And he said, honestly, the common mistakes really varies largely from player to player. So I guess that question was kind of a dud. He said there's really no common mistake that is common amongst all the players that he witnesses. So question number 6. I said, how do you like Nova? What made you choose Nova for your sponsored account, your main account now? He said, Nova for me is one of the best clans, if not the best clan in the game. I chose them because how they were cleaning up their bad reputation and because all the benefits Nova gives to their members. I was against them strongly before they changed, and I was in constant talks with one of their managers about it. And as soon as they changed, I decided to give them a try. He ended up liking it, so he joined Nova full time, and he really enjoys being part of them now. Question number 7. I asked, Okay, besides yourself, what players do you think are the best in the world? And do you ever get scared or nervous going against any specific player out there? And his answer was, there's a lot of great players out there. He named quite a few here. I'll list a few of them. He said Trainer Chris, CMC, Trainer Nick, Marcel P, Guanek, Z Teamper, and Adam aka Zed. He thinks those are some of the top players, and he could see any of those players finishing #1 overall any given season. He also said that he's not scared to face anybody on ladder. He just looks forward to a really competitive and good match if he happens to get matched up against one of those guys or several other players that he didn't mention. He said there's a lot of good guys out there in the community. So, question number 8. I asked, what do you think of the New Balance changes? And he said, there's a reason behind all of the changes. He believes that the Zap nerf was not needed, but a buff to Goblins sure was, because they were seeing almost no play at all at the top, except for Goblin Barrel. Now, Mega Minion, Elite Barbarians, and Ice Golem nerfs were necessary in Pompeyo's opinion. The Log nerf was a bit too much in his opinion. Other than that, he says he can see the reason behind all of the changes. Overall, he's excited for the new meta. So, question number 9. How many matches do you usually play on the average day? And he says, really, there is no average day. It all depends on what's going on. Roughly on a casual day for Pompeyo, he plays about 10 to 15 matches. But he'll play up to 120 matches if there's a special event, such as the Electro Wizard Challenge. Now, Pompeyo was one of the first in the world, a little bit murky on exactly who was the first, but he was one of the first handful of people to farm up a max level Electro Wizard in the Electro Wizard Challenge. Huge props to him. Now, he did say when he's grinding challenges, he plays about 3 challenges a day, so basically 36 matches, give or take, plus 5 ladder matches a day, so he definitely plays a lot. So question number 10, the final question is, if you could give players one tip to help take their game to the next level, what would it be? And his tip was, don't overcommit. Taking the risk might look tempting, but if the opponent has a push going straight to your tower and you overcommit on the other lane, you'll probably lose if the enemy has a counter for that counter push of your own. I find it much better, this is Pompeyo speaking, I find it much better to play it safe rather than trying to win and end up losing a lot of trophies or an important tournament game because of overcommitting. So guys, there you have it. Rapid fire, 10 questions, 10 answers from the world's best Pompeyo. So guys, as this match ends, let's just go ahead and talk about the deck that he's playing to talk you through this last game here. So it is the Expo deck that he is so well known for, and I'll tell you what guys, I've been playing this deck as well in challenges and doing very well. Now, I said challenges, so it doesn't just only work on ladder. It actually works really well on challenges too, and it definitely still works in the current meta. Now, you have archers, which are a great answer to graveyard, which is definitely going to be still very strong in the game, especially in the tournament winners. I assume that a lot of graveyard is still going to be around. You also have a bunch of protection cards for the Expo, so you have to pick and choose your spot, but with this deck you also run the rocket, so you can defend well, you can over defend your Expo and lean on that Inferno Tower, kind of like Pompeyo was saying earlier in this Q&A. He loves the Inferno Tower because for 5 elixir you can stop a big push coming in the other lane. For example, if the opponent drops a golem in one lane, you can safely put your Expo in the other lane and then just rely on that Inferno Tower on defense. Just make sure you don't stretch yourself too thin because like Pompeyo said, if you overcommit on your push, you could find yourself in trouble. But in this deck, you do have some allowances to help you defend at the same time. Now you have the rocket, of course, so all you really need to do is get the tower down with the Expo that's within within the destruction range of your rocket, depending on the level. Other than that, the deck is pretty straightforward, guys. You just gotta make sure you don't over-defend your Expo every single time, especially early on. You have to make sure you don't play super aggressively. You make sure you learn what your opponent's counters to the Expo are, and sometimes in the Expo deck, now this isn't from Pompeo, just from my own experience, but if you go against a really solid player, sometimes, especially on ladder, when you only have 4 minutes total per match, you just play for the tie. Now, some players who are super aggressive may disagree with me on that, but me on ladder with the Expo deck, sometimes I'll take the tie. If the opponent always has a strong answer for my Expo, or more than one strong answers, sometimes I'll just play the defensive Expo and rely on that. So here, another good win for Pompeo, and look at that, he's barely taking any damage to his towers. Another cool thing I'll do on the Expo deck is if you get one tower down, you can pretty much relax. You still want to put pressure on when you have the opportunity, but it does give you that allowance to play the Expo defensively if you want to. And there it goes. Time ticks off the clock and another win for Pompeo, the world's best. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A with Pompeo. A special shout out and thank you to Pompeo. Let me know if you want to see him back on the channel, maybe in a Pro v Pro. We'll have to wait and see if he accepts. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.